All right, we'll have much more on the Artemis 2 launch in just a few minutes. But first, we want to get to this. In a primetime address to the nation, President Trump said the war in Iran will wrap up very shortly. But he warned the U.S. will also be ramping up strikes in the next 2 to 3 weeks, saying the U.S. military will hit Iran, quote, extremely hard. Just listen to what President Trump had to say about the goals for this operation.
We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their missiles are just about used up or beaten. I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion.
But worries remain over the price of oil. Crude oil futures spiked more than 5% after the president's speech. And on average, you see here, a gallon of regular gas will now cost you $4.08. According to an estimate from Democratic lawmakers, American drivers have paid an additional $8.4 billion in fuel costs since the war began. We've got team coverage on this for you this morning. Ramy Inocencio is standing by in our London bureau. Holly Williams is in Tel Aviv with Iran's response to the president's address. But let's begin with CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi in our D.C. bureau today. Olivia, good morning. So President Trump did not offer many new details on Iran during his speech. So why did he deliver it, and what did we learn?
Well, good morning, Errol. It's good to be with you. You're right. There weren't any really new information that we received from the president last night. However, this speech was really not for the people who have been following this closely. It was for the Americans who the president felt he had to make this pitch to, who he had to tell the reasons why the U.S. is going into war in Iran, why you're seeing those higher prices at the pump. We saw last night the president over and over again really lay out this timeline for escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran and why he felt it was necessary to take action right now. He also tried to set the stage for how long this conflict could take. You heard him there say another 2 to 3 weeks. They're nearing completion. Shortly it could be finished, but not saying that they are ready to wrap this up just yet. So really expectation setting last night from the president was what he was trying to accomplish. And this comes, as we have heard from White House sources this week, telling us that the president's polling, particularly on those high gas prices, are really concerning to advisors, especially as they're heading into the 2026 midterm elections in just 7 months. But on your question as to what was new, there were two things that stood out to me. One was the president saying that 45,000 people in Iran were killed during the protest earlier this year, back in January, when they were rising up against the regime. That was very notable because previously the president had said those numbers were within 30,000 to about 35,000. So 45,000 really stood out to me. Also, take a listen to what he said here about the Strait of Hormuz, which has really been the key crux of this entire global conflict, because this is what is holding up the flow of oil in the region. Take a listen to what the president said about reopening the strait.
The countries of the world that do receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it. They can do it easily. We will be helpful, but they should take the lead in protecting the oil that they so desperately depend on.
Now, the president also said that the Strait of Hormuz could open up naturally, but did not expand on what that could actually mean. And this comes as he has been calling on NATO allies to step up in the region and help reopen the strait. Errol?
Olivia, thank you very much. Let's jump now to CBS News senior foreign correspondent Holly Williams in Tel Aviv. Holly, good morning to you. So what reaction has there been there in the region to what the president had to say?
Good morning, Errol. Well, Iran has issued what seems to be a direct response to President Trump's address to the nation last night, and it is typically fiery. A spokesman for Iran's military command said in a statement addressing the U.S. and Israel this morning, quote, "This war will continue until you experience humiliation, permanent regret, and inevitable surrender." Now, that's obviously in contrast to the time frame that President Trump gave last night, suggesting that the war would continue for another 2 or 3 weeks. And We probably don't need to say that the two sides often give starkly different narratives in this conflict. As you know, Trump has repeatedly claimed that Iran's leaders are eager to do a deal to end the war, while Iran has denied that it's negotiating at all. That Iranian spokesman also claimed that the US and Israel have not destroyed Iran's missile production centres, long-range attack drones and advanced air defence systems, asserting that they are in locations that the US and Israel cannot reach. Now, it's obviously impossible for us to confirm the exact damage done to Iran's military, but it is clear that the US and Israel have been dominant in this conflict and have set Iran back militarily. Yesterday, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian also shared an open letter addressed to the American public. Pezeshkian criticised what he called the machinery of misinformation that he said was misrepresenting Iran. He also wrote, quote, exactly which of the American people's interests are being served by this war. Errol.
All right, similar questions in the U.S. Holly Williams, thank you. For a look at the situation in the Strait of Hormuz, we're joined now by CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio in our London newsroom. Ramy, good morning. So what are the latest on efforts to reopen what is a vital global waterway?
Absolutely, Errol, and good morning to you. Well, here in London, we're expecting a virtual meeting to start any time now. And this meeting is led by the United Kingdom, and it's basically a new kind of coalition of the willing to try to get the Strait of Hormuz open at some point. The nuts and bolts of this is that it's led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper here will chair it. 35 countries have signed on, and this is, at least right now, about political alignment, then possibly operations after the missiles and the drone stop from Iran. And this could include hunting for mines and protecting tankers that would then eventually get through the strait. But I also want to anchor this in reality, Errol, because no one expects this meeting today to reopen Hormuz anytime soon. But oil, even as I have been refreshing my browser here over the past couple of minutes, has gone up about $2 a barrel. So it's now over $109 a barrel for global crude. That's up nearly 8% this morning. This is pressuring economies and the stability of at least some governments. And President Trump yesterday said, if you need that oil, you got to do it yourselves. And he had some suggestions. Take a listen.
I have a suggestion. Number one, buy oil from the United States of America. We have plenty. We have so much. And number two, build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the strait and just take it, protect it, use it for yourselves.
And the U.S. is not joining today's talks, but they do include about 24 countries from Europe, including France and Germany, as you might expect, but several Asia-Pacific countries, Japan, South Korea. And remember, we've been saying about 80% of the oil out of Hormuz goes to Asia. Notably, the UAE and Bahrain have signed on too. The UAE is the second biggest oil exporter out of the Gulf, so it has skin in the game there. Bahrain on the front line strategically, hosting the U.S. Fifth Fleet, so they both have vested interest. So we look ahead to that meeting expected anytime now.
All right, we'll watch all of that closely. Ramy, thank you.